Hello everybody and welcome back to the TripleJump Podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
My name is Peter.
And my name is Ashton.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are
Was
you?
that a question or are you saying good morning?
Good morning. Just
morning.
talking like a teacher.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning,
Potter.
everybody.
Morning, Mr. Potter.
Good morning everybody.
Good morning,
Good
Mr.
morning.
Potter.
You have to say it twice.
Yeah.
Come on, let's have a bit more energy.
Good
morning,
morning.
Mr. Potter.
Are you well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit sore today.
Are you?
Are you?
You're a bit sore today.
So
Yeah.
you can't just leave that hanging in the
did
air.
some gains.
Oh yeah.
games
Are you
last
built
yesterday.
different? Yeah.
I don't think so. I think I'm built like a weak little girl, and I'm trying to be a less weak little girl. Is the situation I'm trying to hang out
You
in.
get hench.
I want to get hench.
Okay.
But that, and I also I had to find the lightest weight the gym
Right.
had, because I was like, can't do a 12, can't probably do a 16. So I'll look for an 8, and then I found the 1 8 that they had, and I was like, okay, this will do me.
Nice.
Just went to the vending machine and got like a can of Pepsi instead.
Yeah. Well, there was this man using a two-handed dumbbell thing, and it was real little, and I thought I could do that, and he was real struggling with it, and I was like, I could do that.
Did you say that to him?
No,
I could do that.
I was kind of from a
Go on,
distance.
then.
I was like, I bet I could do that. But then when he put it down, I couldn't find where he put it, so I thought, he must have taken it with him.
It's his from
It
home.
is. He brought it in.
He just came in.
He pays the gym fees just to come to a room where he can use his own weights.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, I look forward to seeing your progress in the coming weeks. You
Oh.
can just flip through. Crack. Both her shoulders just dislocated. You can check in every week and just sort of flip through, just taking up more and more space at the table.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, this is our video game podcast where we talk about video game stuff. And each and every week we're sponsored by a very real video game adjacent sponsor. Helps us keep the lights on here. I've got one right now.
Yeah?
Oh,
You
yeah,
ready?
you got the read this
I've
week.
got the ad read. This is Jim Ryan's new book. Jim Ryan, of course, PlayStation big wig.
Local boy.
Local boy, yes. He is from Newcastle. Here is the name of his new book. It's in shops this week. It's called There's No Destiny to Worry, and then a colon, Spending a Ton G Without Losing Your Halo. The Jim Ryan story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah, okay. So that's available now
Right.
at
One more time with the
Waterstones.
title, please.
Sorry?
Just
One more
the
time with the title.
One
Of
more
course,
time,
yeah.
please.
So it's called There's No Destiny to Worry, colon, Spending a Ton G Without Losing Your Halo, a Jim Ryan story.
Right.
It's a bit one-sided, as you
Yeah.
can sort of tell. There's sort of
Yeah.
there's an agenda,
Yeah.
a slant.
It's not just, he's selling it as a biography, but it's actually just 12 chapters.
a puff
of,
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of I'm from Newcastle. Anyway.
By the way, I'm from Newcastle.
Does it come in an audiobook form as well?
I hope
With
so.
him reading it to us?
I hope so.
Yeah.
That would be good.
In his sort of strange, slightly strangled accent.
Yeah.
Mad deals and that.
Buying Bungie for $6 billion. How much was it?
3.6.
Extra
I think.
50s.
Yeah. Around 4 billion.
Unbelievable. Sadly, that's not true.
Oh.
I don't know if Jim Ryan's written any books, but if he has, you best be
Best-selling
sure that
author Jim
we're
Ryan.
going to be reading it soon.
Yeah.
That's not a real biography of the Bungie deal. We will, of course,
Damn it.
get to that a bit later on in the podcast. Instead, we are sponsored by our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/Team TripleJump. $1. That's all you need to get in the door.
Uno poundo.
Uno poundo.
As they say in Spain.
Yeah.
In Spain.
Yeah.
It depends if you go to the British bits of Spain.
That's-
Uno poundo,
That's
please come.
depressingly quite a lot of Spain, isn't it?
Yeah.
The British seaside resorts.
Yeah.
So, what am I saying? $1, Uno Poundo, and you can ask questions on this podcast. We've got loads of other tiers available, though, all sorts of rewards, so go and check them out, if you will.
But also, I had a little inhale there from Ashton. I got in there before. One day she'll be strong enough
She
that
was just
she'll
about
stop.
to flex again, that sort of...
But not yet.
Slam you by the throat. No, it's right.
But also, you can support us in another way that won't cost you a penny. Isn't that right, Ashton?
Yes, Peter, it is right. You can go to facebook.com/Team TripleJump and join our Facebook page where there's lots of cool things going on. Isn't that right, Peter?
Yep, costs £0, and you can just go over there and hit follow/like. Follow.
It's actually Cero Poundos.
Cero.
Pounder,
Yeah, of course. And when we get to 10,000, we'll be able to pay Ashton and James several poundos.
Well, hang on. Ashton is a stretch goal. James is the 10K. Ashton, I think, is probably 15, 20. So, sorry. I don't know if you
That's
knew that,
news
Ashton.
to her, yeah.
That's a development.
Woof.
I was really hoping I could start paying my
Man.
rent soon.
Been sneaking in behind people at the gym. Haven't even got a membership.
Do you follow Team TripleJump on Facebook? Please. There's really good content on there.
Soon I'll be able
Sometimes
to
there's
get
live
in the
streams.
gym. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Right, I suppose it's time, isn't it, for a
Good
question.
question. Good question here from Stephen Norrie, who says, with the release of the first trailer for the Halo TV series having just happened, do you think that a long-form TV series is a better fit for video game adaptations, or would a very done singular film give... What's that supposed to be?
That's just how the question's read, and I
You
couldn't
give it-
decide
give it a
what
little-
that sentence.
Give it a little proofread, Ashton.
I couldn't decipher what that sentence was meant to be, so I just
I'll
thought.
just leave it.
Leave it.
That's Peter's problem.
I guess it's well done. If it's just
Maybe.
missing it. Would a very well done singular film
Yeah.
give better bang for the buck?
Okay, that's what it meant. I genuinely I sat reading it and I was like, ugh.
Just put
You
that
know
in.
what? I'm not paid at all.
Peter's
so
problem.
Peter can
Get question one, so I have to read it. Are there any games you would think would fit better into either side? Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen.
Have you two, I guess you have, going into the podcast, looked at the Halo trailer?
No.
See, I thought, hey, I should do that.
Yeah. Have neither of you looked at it?
Wasn't it?
I hadn't seen it until we got this question, but then I thought, oh,
Better watch it.
watch it.
Was
so.
it not on the Games Award? The Game Awards, didn't they show?
No,
a
that
trailer?
was Legs, I think.
No,
Yeah,
no.
the Netflix
Was there
series.
not a Halo trailer at the Game Awards?
I
feel like
can't.
I've seen a
I don't
glimpse.
I feel like the
Maybe it
Game
was a
Awards was
teaser.
just like it's just a distant.
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
Maybe it
dream.
was just a teaser. But
Well, the one that I looked at before we came in it was listed on YouTube as Paramount Pictures Halo trailer number 2. So I don't know if Stephen is necessarily accurate in saying that this is the first trailer. He might be. I don't know. But anyway, I looked at it and I had a couple of thoughts. I mean, to answer the question first, I think it's very much case by case, as Stephen kind of implies in his question. Like, I think, but as an example of that, I think that Halo would be better off as a movie, personally. Like, looking at this this trailer, it's difficult. I mean, I've not read up on like exactly where this series falls in the continuity, whether it's sort of meant to be. It doesn't have to directly tie into the movies and the games, the games and the books, because I kind of wonder, like, so is this stuff supposed to have happened like pre-games, or we've got like characters in there that are familiar, we've got the Covenant in it and stuff, and I'm wondering like what, you know, how canon is this going to be, and how much does it relate to the other stuff? I think the easiest thing would be to just take the story of the first game or the first entire trilogy and turn that into a movie and adapt that. But it's very much case by case. But for me, the thing that I took away from the trailer is I'm way more concerned about like just the medium or like the presentation of any kind of video game adaptation, because I think in this case, the first sort of third of the trailer, or maybe not that much, but the first chunk of trailer is just in this like sandy human settlement, I think, just out in a desert somewhere. And you've got all these people just in people clothes, in their people buildings, just made of concrete and bricks.
Boring.
And then in amongst that, you've got this guy in a really like, I mean, it's good, it's well made, but Master Chief sticks out so much in
Is
his
it a bit
armor.
of cosplay?
And to me, it looks like a fan film,
Right.
right? It looks like someone has paid mega bucks for like a really cool Master Chief suit of armor that you see, you know, at cons and stuff. And then they're like running around it was like that episode of The Mandalorian, spoilers for season 2 of The Mandalorian here, where the Boba Fett one, where, you know, they just filmed it in like a forest. And people joked about how most of the series was filmed in the Volume, which is this like super clever digital studio. But that one episode, they went and shot on location. And there were a lot of like memes online about how they just pulled up again on the side of the highway in America and like in the Pacific Northwest. They're just in a pine forest.
Let's just shoot it here.
Yeah,
exactly. And you've got a guy, 2 people in Mandalorian suits, and a load of guys in Stormtrooper outfits just running around in a forest, and it just looks kind of odd. So I think personally, Halo, and so in the kind of latter half of the trailer, you do see more like clearly CG backgrounds and stuff, and there's more kind of special effects going on with the environment. And I think he looks way better there because he doesn't stick out. He like just blends into this whole sort of CG-ish world. And I personally think that they should either have filmed the whole thing like that, like made no bones about the fact that, yeah, this is like crazy CG world. We're not trying to make it look like ultra realistic by filming just stuff on location. We want it to look a little bit like non-real so that he doesn't stick out. Or they could have literally animated the whole thing. Like rather than done a live action show, I would have been happy with like a CG animated show rather than having live action actors in it. So that is my concern way more than anything else. As I say, I think it's just case by case as to whether the story and the characters and the themes of any given video game translate to TV versus movie. You've got questions about duration and budget and things like that. But I'm way more bothered about just how this thing looks. And I think, it has big fan film energy, and I don't really like it.
Right.
And that's coming from a fan of the early Halo games. Like, I've got no problem with Master Chief's design in the games or in the series, but I just don't like how he sticks out so much. Ashton?
I don't really know much about Halo, so I probably wouldn't have known what was going on in the trailer anyway. But if we're going for things that kind of are my Halo in this situation, the Borderlands movie, we haven't seen anything about it yet, but the more and more that we hear about it and the more that we've kind of heard about the cast, the more I go, I don't know if it needs to be a movie. I didn't think I ever thought it was needed to be a movie before they said it was going to be a movie. But I am so unbelievably apprehensive about this movie. And it's going to be bad.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be real.
It's going to be horrible.
Awful. But, at least...
The Uncharted movie is going to be horrible as well. But it will still be fun.
It doesn't look very good. But I think that, like you're saying, some games do lend themselves much better to TV shows. I think, I'm very much on a Horizon focus right now, so many of my answers have the word Horizon in them. But I think Horizon Zero Dawn would be a great TV show because there's enough...
world.
Yeah, the world's interesting enough. You've got like the kind of the past stuff. You could do some flashbacks, a bit like the new series of Boba Fett's done quite well. You can do some recent stuff, and that would work really well. But I also think something like Hitman could potentially be quite a good series versus a good movie. I think it would work really well in kind of both situations. And then God of War, like maybe the recent one, could make a really good movie if you were to make it. Because a lot of them kind of lend themselves to that narrative kind of focus. Like the God of War is one continuous story that you could pretty easily cover and cut out kind of the guff of like necessarily going to like all the other bits in the game and focus on the main story, and you could make a pretty good movie out of it. Borderlands, I don't think lends itself very well to a movie. One, we don't know when this is going to be set because of the varying ages of the characters, and we don't know like if it's going to be canon, like you were saying, whether it's going to be a canon TV show or not. It's kind of like you don't really know where it's going to fit because it doesn't necessarily fit with the rest of the game's kind of vibes. So we'll see about the Borderlands movie. But yeah, I think there isn't kind of a cut and dry. Movies are better, games are better than as movies than they are as TV shows. But also, I don't think every game needs to be a movie or a TV show.
Yeah,
and I think someone should tell Hollywood that not every game needs to be a movie or a TV show. Thank you.
I think it depends.
Yeah.
On the narrative focus or lack thereof of the game. So if a game's got a big old narrative through line, say you're adapting God of War, I think that would work better.
Last of Us.
Or The Last of Us.
Yeah.
I think that would work better as a TV show because there's just so much ground to cover that a 8 to 12 hour game can cover that a movie can't. And a TV show has a far better chance of doing that properly. Whereas something like, I mean, Uncharted should probably be a TV show. I think. I don't know how you're going to compress all that into a movie, especially if...
It looks like they haven't done a very good job.
Well, yeah,
going
they've
off
just
the trailer.
taken bits and pieces from the original trilogy and just stuck them in there. But, you know, Castlevania is an example where I think the games, obviously, they do have a story and there is a through line narrative. But that... I'd almost prefer to see a Castlevania film than I would a TV show, but the TV show was excellent. And it was also animated. So there's, as you say, as you both said, it doesn't have to risk looking a bit like a fan film, potentially, by, you know, getting some great big getting The Rock in Kratos body paint.
Yeah.
And like, well, this just looks a bit crap, doesn't it? Doesn't this look a bit crap? There's a live action God of War advert, I think maybe for God of War 2 or 3, where they've got a guy dressed up as Kratos, and he's like really sad because he's just murdered his family, because that's what, lest we forget, anti-hero Kratos murdered his own family.
Did. Yeah.
And his wife and daughters like crumble to ashes in his hands, and he just sort of goes, ooh, and there's like a single tear that rolls down his ashy cheek, and it just looks a bit crap. Now, I'm not saying that a TV show or film of God of War would look like that, but it could be avoided by subverting expectations and making it animated, or even CG. Or
we're so
something
used
like that.
to, even though, you know, graphics are now like bordering on photorealistic, particularly in cutscenes, you can still just tell by the way things move and the way light reflects that something is CG in a video game and it's not live action. And when you then see that character that you are used to seeing as an animated character in live action form, no matter how good the costume and makeup is, no matter how good the budget is, there's just something, it's almost like the Uncanny Valley. It's not the same thing. The
It's
Uncanny
like
Valley
reverse.
it's almost like a reverse Uncanny Valley. It's like, this just looks like an actual human because it is, and my brain wants to see it as like slightly not human. So yeah, it doesn't always come out right, I think.
I agree. I haven't watched the Halo trailer, but to answer your question, Stephen, I do just think it massively varies. I just think some games are better fitted or better suited to TV shows. Again, especially if they have more of a focus on story. You know, Rampage starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Rampage as a TV show? I can't even imagine it as a film. But
Yeah.
I've seen it. We went to see it together.
We did.
And it was bloody awful.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Ridiculous.
Was
Sonic.
Rock playing The Rock.
Oh, The Rock
Yeah.
always plays The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was playing The Rock. I mean, I don't remember The Rock in Rampage.
No, I
the
don't.
game. But he sure was there in the film.
I don't remember him in the film, really. All I remember is a white King Kong
Yes.
flipping the bird.
Yeah.
More
Was
than
he
once.
was Dwayne The Rock Johnson the
No, Dwayne
No.
The Rock Johnson did not play a giant. It
Oh,
was a
right.
giant CGI
I
egg. Don't
see.
worry.
Okay.
That's fine. One final example. I think Sonic is an excellent choice for a film.
It's a great movie as well.
But it's also been TV shows.
Yeah.
I mean, some would argue terrible or good, depending on how strong their nostalgia is. I think
did
objectively pretty horrible. But Sonic, I think, currently works better as a movie than a film.
yeah.
Christ, help me.
Yeah, you
Movie
got
than
it.
a
You
TV
got
show.
it. Yeah. I can't believe we managed to get through that whole conversation and not mention Super Mario movie one time.
He's so
He's
cool.
so cool.
He is. So
There's
cool.
a lot of really scary irons in the fire currently.
Mhm.
We're going to see what happens with Uncharted,
Ubisoft's
the Mario
doing loads
movie,
at the moment.
Borderlands.
Assassin's
Borderlands,
Sonic 2.
Assassin's Creed, Halo, Sonic 2,
Creed. There's a Beyond Good and
Last
Evil.
of The Last of Us.
Last of Us TV
Netflix
show.
Yeah, Last of Us.
Resident Evil movie was trash. I haven't seen it,
I haven't
but
seen it
everyone
either.
said it was really bad.
Right.
So I'll wait till it comes out on Netflix and I'll go, ooh.
Ooh, rubbish.
There's I had one more example, which is, I mean, it's actually, technically it's based on a book, but The Witcher TV series is by all accounts very good. I've still
Yes.
not watched it yet.
It is very good.
And putting aside the fact that it's based on a book, I think certainly the modern audience, as many people know it for the games as the books. And I think that works in, as I say, I've not seen it, but I've seen the trailers. And I think that looks okay being totally live action. You know, we're talking about Kratos looking weird in live action. I think that works because it's essentially it's a game about normal looking humans, and then around them you have weird things going on, and you have monsters and things, but they are people. They're just normal people.
They're just blonde
blonde people. Whereas Kratos is not that, and neither is Master Chief, and so on and so forth. So,
do you ever see Master Chief not in his armor?
Yeah, like later on in the series, they just full on like showed about that much of his face.
Did they really?
Yeah,
okay.
It was a big thing. The end of Halo 1, he takes his helmet off and the camera just goes out of the ship and he just puts you see his helmet go down on the dashboard. And then, I don't know if it happened in Halo 2 or 3 that they like hinted at it, but then at the end of, I think, Halo 5, or maybe Halo 4, if you do the legendary difficulty, there's this like really nice looking CG animated cutscene where he's like standing in this thing, it's taking all of his armor off, all of his like body armor comes off, and then it zooms in on his face and his helmet goes up like that, and you just see like this sort of fleshy.
Is he cross-eyed?
He's not.
That would be.
He looks like he's an absolute
monobrow.
wreck. He looks a bit like when Darth Vader gets his helmet taken off. He's all sort of pasty and weird.
Oh no!
Well, that's my memory of it.
You just expect him to be really handsome.
Yeah, you do, don't you? And I seem to remember he's a bit sort of weird looking.
In Halo Infinite, if you complete it on legendary difficulty, he just like takes off his trousers. You just get to see his big old.
And you expect him to have a really nice dick, but he doesn't.
He doesn't.
It's
It's like
a wrinkly.
it looks like Darth Vader's dick.
Yeah,
it's been shot off.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's time to move on, isn't it, Ashton?
Yeah, it's time for a section we've never even done before, so it's really exciting.
Oh.
It's time to talk about what we play in.
Oh. It's what we play in time. Time to talk about what we play in. Peter.
Yeah.
What have you been playing?
I've been playing. I have upgraded my Uncharted 4 Thief's End.
Ooh.
I've been playing that on my PS5.
How them triggers.
Yeah. I'm enjoying that. That's all good.
They get in the way.
Uh-huh.
They're annoying.
I think it looks very pretty. I don't know to what extent I would have thought this is like a brilliant visual upgrade if I'd not seen side by sides. But I think it's partly that case of just like, it's almost like this is how I remember it. Only I don't think it is that. It's better than I remember it, but like probably not. When I look at the side by sides, I can see like actually they've done a pretty nice job of like really upscaling this. But when if I'd not seen those, I think I would have thought, yes, it's an improvement, you know. But certainly, if you look at the side by sides, it's very good. I am very much enjoying that story. I've been wanting to replay that game actually for a couple of years now, and then when I found out that what's it called, a Thief's Legacy of Thieves, was coming out, I thought, well, just hang fire and wait for that now. But I did play through the initial Uncharted trilogy not so long ago, and man, like it's night and day, isn't it? Really, like the fourth game compared to especially compared to the first game, which is just it's a lot of shooting, really, and not a lot else. But man, I tell you what I love about the Uncharted games, especially the fourth one, is just when you enter an area, like sneaking around on ledges and like pulling people off and stealthing your way through all these encounters. Love that. And when your companion is like, there's one over there, and it just like lights up someone. Like, oh hell yeah! So I'm sure I'll probably be playing Lost Legacy. What's it called?
Yeah,
something Legacy. Yeah, Lost
Legacy.
I'm so confused now by the
Chloe's
Legacy
Big
of
Adventure.
Thieves. Chloe's Big. I'll be playing Chloe's Big Adventure.
Uncharted 4 Thief's End
soon.
Uncharted Lost
Legacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's about Chloe.
Yeah, and her
the
dad.
legacy that she lost.
So I'll give that a go when I've finished the fourth one. But it's just nice to be back in that game. Like I say, I've been looking for an excuse.
Hurry up and make Uncharted 5!
Do it!
It's been... how many years? When did Chloe's Big Adventure come out? 2017? 2018?
17, 18?
17.
Yeah.
17.
Feels like 17. You have to always add like a couple of years on at this point because of COVID.
And they've only been making The Last of Us Part 2 in that time, so can they just
Come on.
Hurry up.
Come
What are you
on.
waiting for?
I want to play as little baby Drake.
Yeah.
Was she given a name at any point in Nathanella?
Yes.
Yes, I want to play as her.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Ashton, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh yeah.
I finished it. I platinumed it for the first time.
Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I just love that game. I'm so excited for the next one to come out. I'm really sad I have to wait 15 days.
Have you
for
got a
the next
countdown
one.
timer on
No,
you?
I just checked what day it was because
okay.
I know it comes out on the 18th. And I moved on to the Frozen Wilds DLC. So I'll probably finish that. It probably won't take that long. We'll finish it next week. And then I only have to wait a couple days for the next one to come out. I kind of was hoping I'd find something to play in the meantime, but it's all I think about every minute of every day. It's all I think about. I might finish Little Nightmares 2 between this and the next one. And then I played a game on Xbox Game Pass called Nobody Saves the World. It's single player or 2-player co-op. I played it with MB, and to be honest, I actually had a really good time. It's like a dungeon crawler kind of vibe, but you gradually unlock forms to change into. So you start as this like little dude with no eyes, and then he's called Nobody, and then you gradually kind of like get enough XP or do enough challenges to unlock more forms. So you start as like a little rat you can run around as and attack enemies, and then you get a knight and a ranger, and it kind of gradually expands so much that you get like a horse and a turtle you can fight.
What's this called again?
Nobody saves the world.
Oh, I think I've heard of this.
Yeah.
I remember people talking about the rat.
Yeah.
Playing as a rat or
Yeah.
something.
You just chomp on people. It's really good. And I've been
Just
really
like
enjoying
rats
it. We played it for a couple of hours on like Monday night. And I really enjoyed it. Probably go back to it. It's quite clever the way it does kind of co-op situation. Like when one of us opens the menu, it opens it for both of us, but we can upgrade things for both of us as we go. So we do the challenges together, and it locks forms that we both unlock. So we've not got to kind of do things separately, but everything is kind of done together, which I thought was annoying, but as we went through it, it was actually quite good. So yeah, I played that and I enjoyed it.
Nice.
Ben, what have you been playing?
I'll flip and tell you. I've been playing a little bit of Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yeah.
Arceus. We did a Quipscope on that. Enjoying it still. I've played like an hour or so before bed the past couple of nights.
Did you get past the tutorial yet?
Yes. It's still telling me stuff, but I think so. I think I've done it. I'm only like 5-6 hours in at this point. But I've evolved a few of my Pokemons. I caught a Pikachu, a Pikanchu.
I know that one.
But I haven't ventured back to the camp to change it out yet. So all the rest of my Pokemon are just continuously leveling up, and the Pikachu's just, by comparison, becoming less and less of an attractive prospect. Because trust me, if I have any say in the matter, I'm going to have only the Pokemon that I give a flying flip at. Bidoof! No, thank you. That bird one, I don't know what that is. Get that out. I've got a slug thing, just because it was one of the first ones that was creepy crawling around. So I threw the Pokeball, and it's like, that's mine.
Slooge, go.
Go. It's awful. I don't want it. So I need to swap out my Pokemon, and women. But it's good, and I like it, and looking forward to playing a little bit more. It definitely has that you can waste a lot of time in it feel, because you're in a big open field, for example. Your objective marker's on the other side, and then you just sort of meander your way there, like, oh, there's an item there. Oh, there's a Pokemon. I'm going to get that. Oh, I'm going to beat up that. Oh, is that a new Pokemon? And you just sort of like zigzag your way across the landscape. You very rarely run in a straight line to get to where you're going. So still enjoying that. That's good. Also played a bit more, what's it called? Deep Rock Galactic. That mining game that was on Plus last month. Hours, comrade. Been playing that with my friends. I don't think I enjoy it as much as they do. They're having a great time, and I'm just sort of getting quite irritated because it's a bit rough around the edges. It's fun, and I am enjoying it, but it's got like 12 currencies, and there's something about that just exhausts me. I find it so exhausting. But the core gameplay is pretty fun. And I do like it. The last thing I played, which was on stream this week, but I think it's worth talking about here, is Bloodborne PSX.
Oh, yeah.
Which we've spoken about on the podcast before. It's sort of the demake that the very, very small dev team, I think it's a one-person team with a little bit of extra help here and there, have made. It's the first few hours of the game, and it is so impressive. You can download it for free now, and it's an executable file, so you can just run it from your desktop. Super impressed with it. It's definitely really obtuse, intentionally so. So there's like loads, and the file size is about 150 megabytes. So it's about the size of an appropriate game from that era if it were an ISO. But there's loading screens all the time.
Right.
All the areas are like very small and contained. In order to unsheath your weapon, because the hunter weapons in Bloodborne have two forms, and you usually press a button to like fold it out. It's like a trick weapon. You have to go into your menu, then scroll down to your weapon, and then press a button to switch modes. So there's like a million more button inputs than there would normally be. But I'm super impressed, and I think it's great. The VOD's now available on the VOD's channel, but I did sort of give up at one of the bosses because I was tired and hungry, and it was time to go home. But yeah, go check it out, Bloodborne PSX. That's what I've been playing.
Well, I think it's time for question 2. Oh. Don't you?
No. Yeah, go on.
Okay. This question comes from Cameron Keywood. Cameron says, "Hi, Bap. I saw on Twitter that Ben is getting inked with a Dark Souls bonfire piece.
Whoa.
If you could pick a gaming tattoo to have, what series would it be from, and what would it be?"
What would it be?
How was your tattoo? I know it's a bit scabby today.
Yeah, it's peeling now. I got a big old tattoo, if you're watching the video. Here, it's sort of a bonfire firelink shrine piece from Dark Souls that I've wanted for ages.
You can see it on Twitter.
You see it on Twitter. That's when it was all fresh and looked great, and now it's sort of like all sort of angry and still quite swollen. But yeah, it's doing okay. Just need to keep it moisturized. And
Moisturize me.
Yeah, I've got hang on.
It's got some moisturizer.
Got some balm.
Balm.
100% natural. Apple balm. Before, during, after. Butterlux.
That sounds delicious.
Do you want to have a smell?
Yeah.
Tattoo balm. It does smell pretty good, actually.
Have you got to have any more done? Because
Yes, it's not finished.
yeah, I saw when Steph tweeted about it, she said started work on this today. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I think the plan was to do it all in one sitting, but after 7.5 hours, I think we were both like, my adrenaline had run out, and I was just in pain, and I think she was knackered, obviously.
7.5 hours.
So yeah, I've got to go get the sky. I've got to get the sky done and the tree coloured in, and then a few touch-ups here and there. But that won't be for another month or so. But
Do you love it?
Yeah, it hurts. Peter, you don't have none tattoos, do you?
I don't have non-tattoos. Me and Ashton had this conversation.
I have none tattoos.
I think the day after, it was when we were all at the pub.
Yeah,
you were
2 days
there.
before.
I was there.
On Friday.
You were there.
But you weren't there. I think you were at the bar.
Yeah.
And me and Ashton
okay.
were
We were having
talking.
a conversation.
And I said to Ashton, "Have you got any tattoos?" And she said no. I think I was surprised.
Really?
You seem
I
like
think
a wild child.
You seem like you would have like one hidden tattoo somewhere.
I have commitment issues.
Okay.
And I
we
worry-
both came to the same conclusion.
Yeah, I
about
worry
this.
that I would like hate it as soon as like I leave the tattoo parlor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to. I wanted to get one like on my ribs, but everyone was like, "Don't do that. It hurts really. Like hurts
Yeah.
a lot." So I was like, "Okay, I don't want to be in pain either." So I wouldn't want a big tattoo.
Get a little one on your ankle.
Yeah, I was thinking of getting one
Something.
like here.
Yeah,
But
I've got one there.
I was gonna get like a slice of watermelon, but it's not from a game. It's just for my sister. But yeah, I haven't got any. But if I was gonna get one for this question, I maybe would get like Andrew's got a great tattoo from The Last of Us. He's got Ellie's tattoo on his arm, and it looks great. It's way too big for me. I wouldn't want that. But I want maybe a little one of that same logo. Is pretty cool. Maybe the Vault Hunter symbol I would quite like.
Yeah.
I think if I get married to my current boyfriend,
Your current boyfriend.
I would want like us to get Vault Hunter symbols together, because we've always played Borderlands. It's kind of one of like the constants in our relationship of like we play it all the time. So I'd love to get like a little Vault Hunter symbol, or alternatively get like a focus from Horizon Zero Dawn, like get a little triangle and then like I mean, I don't really
Little
understand
Dorito.
I don't really understand how like tattoo color works, but like a little blue line through it to be like, so I know it's focused, even if it just looks like a funny little triangle.
Your
to everyone
tattoo,
else.
your Dorito's gone off. Look,
Yeah.
it's got blue on it.
It's gone
That's
mouldy.
You could get Dorito from Far Cry instead.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had the same kind of opinions on this in that like I feel like I've got commitment issues. I feel like I don't think I would hate it after leaving the tattoo parlor, but certainly within 6 months I might be like, why is that on me? Even if it's something that like I really love and I know I'm going to love forever, I still would feel like, yeah, but do I want that on me? Why, I could just like watch that show or play that game rather than have it. I understand why people who do want that thing on them get that thing on them, but just for me personally, I don't know how I would feel about that. But if I had to, if Cameron Keywood held a tattoo needle to my head and said, "What gaming tattoo do you want?"
What do you want?
Then I suppose I wouldn't get anything from Spyro. That might be the obvious answer, but like it's all very colorful and cartoony. And I think if I got a tattoo, I'd want something a bit more dark and plain and like not so bright and colorful.
Yeah.
So I'd struggle with Spyro. So I guess I'd revert to my other favorite game, and I'd go with Beyond Good and Evil and get like. It's the game logo / the in-universe logo for the Iris Network, which is the underground like journalist company that you work with. They're trying to like overthrow the government and show that there's like a conspiracy going on. And it's just like a camera lens, like an iris from a camera lens. So I'd probably just get that somewhere like on my arm or ankle or something like that. Not very big, like that maybe. Yeah. For those watching, for those not watching and listening, you have no idea how big I said I wanted it.
To watch the video.
Massive.
I think we're kind of weenies, really. I think we're a bit too like scared of tattoos.
No.
Or
Yeah, I'm
scared of
not.
the concept of a tattoo that it's there forever.
It is permanent, but you can also get it removed. And
What
you
if
can
I-
also get it covered up. with
What if I
something
suddenly
else.
hate what I like? What if I get a tattoo from my sister and then I hate her?
You
What if
hate-
that happens?
you
What
hate-
if like that happens?
As in, so you get a tattoo
I get a tattoo
of something
like something
to do with your sister.
her,
Well,
and
maybe
then
just
I hate her.
don't do that. Why don't you get a tattoo for you?
What if it turns out that Aloy was involved in the 1970s
what
sex
if-
scandal?
Yeah,
That could be really
exactly.
bad.
That could
That's
happen,
a good,
yeah.
That's a good point, Peter. It's weird that we literally had this conversation on Friday. I don't know if Cameron Keywood was like in the bar and listening and thought, that'd be a good question. But we had almost the exact conversation about whether you'd get a Spyro tattoo
Yeah.
on Friday. Weird.
Weird. That's
Speaking
weird.
of weird,
So I like that little segue there.
it's not time for that just yet, Ben. You calm yourself. It's time to talk about the podcast producers.
No,
who are
it's
spon-
not
Excuse me,
actually.
Ashton.
You're wrong there.
It's time for weird news.
We do this bit
Oh,
first.
yeah.
It's time for weird news. Peter, what's your weird news?
Oh, very good. My weird news is that it's sponsored
Okay.
each and every week by our podcast producers. Remember, you can become a podcast producer by heading to Patreon. Team TripleJump. Team TripleJump, Patreon. Thank you to our podcast producers who this week are Alex McDonald,
Caden Agrinox,
Checkard Omega,
Sean Legg,
GY Goliath,
Ellie Nicholas,
Erica Hutchinson,
Melody L. Bonnet,
Gabrielle Philipping.
and Katie Garrett/Jared. We will never know.
Thank you, podcast producers.
Thank you, everyone, for supporting
Peter,
us.
what's your weird video game news?
Oh, it's in my pocket. I forgot to get it out during the transition period.
Damn, I need to get
Scarlet
mine out too.
Fire!
Unless
me
you're
just-
listening to the podcast.
Indeed. In which case, that's completely lost on you. You don't know why we do that every time. This is a Kotaku article. It was submitted via one of them, Facebook, I think. I'll have to check afterwards.
Flipping one he is.
But it's written by Luke Plunkett, of course,
of course.
who says, Riot forced to explain a Valorant character. Valorant. Why won't you come on over Valorant? Riot forced to explain a Valorant character is not into NFTs.
Okay.
Okay.
Right? Quote,
Seems like everyone is, though. Wouldn't be surprised.
in no way did we intend to include NFTs as part of Killjoy's work and hobbies.
I hate
Huh?
this.
Yeah.
I hate this already.
How do you I'll just listen to them. Carry on.
Tell me more.
Riot Games, the creators of League of Legends and online shooter Valorant, has issued something of an apology to fans of the latter after a tweet appeared to show one of the game's characters enjoying the works of an NFT artist.
No.
As Polygon report, Valorant's social media team recently posted an image of one of the game's characters, Killjoy, visiting a local museum in Berlin where she was taking in the work of Martin Hura, an artist whose work is sold as NFTs.
Did they... Hold on. Go back. Did they just, like, superimpose a bit of the character picture
Yeah.
in a museum?
It's not included, the tweet in question is not included in this article, which will be linked below the podcast if you're watching on YouTube. But if you just Google, what's it called? Killjoy and Martin, Houra, Hura, then it comes up with some other article. I've got a screenshot of the tweet. I think it might have been deleted.
I
When you
don't
think
know
about
if
it-
it's... Sorry.
Sorry.
No, sorry.
Well, I'll go then. So she's got her back to the camera and she's facing the wall, and there's this big like bit of art on the wall. So she's just taking in a picture. That's what it looks like.
When you think
I don't know
about
if
it-
it's... Sorry.
Sorry. When you think about it, isn't like art in museums just like a real NFT?
Shut up, Ashley. That was not worth the wait. I don't know if it's...
A real NFT.
if it's League of Legends. But certainly some of these companies have previews with this. It may well have been League, actually. Someone will tweet me and correct me. But they had a new character who was starting, and her whole character was that she was like this plucky young adult or late teenager. But they had her tweet as if she was a real person. Like she had her own account. She was like, oh man, I really hope I don't mess it up in the big game. And all these real human beings are like, no, don't worry, you'll do great. And it was just the most upsetting thing I've ever seen. Like they had this whole marketing campaign built around trying to make this character, feel like a real person. But it was the interactions with the real world public that was just so vomit inducing and upsetting. It was really terrible.
As Polygon report, Valorant, or Valorant if you want to get, it's up to you how you pronounce it about this, social media team recently posted an image of one of the game's characters, Killjoy. Have I read this paragraph? Yeah, I have. Visiting a local museum in Berlin where she was taking in the work of Martin Hura, an artist whose work is sold as non-fungible tokens. Riot's social media is no stranger to this kind of supposedly relatable fourth wall crossing work. Last year, the company ran an entire campaign based around Seraphine, a League of Legends character who would take to Instagram and Twitter and post about everything from her anxieties to genocide.
Okay.
A tactic which, despite praise from some fans, also came across as a bit much, it says in italics.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Anyway, in this case, what began as an attempt at something similar ended up a complete disaster, with so many fans firing back that the company first deleted the tweet entirely and then went and issued an explanation. And there's two tweets here that are linked or embedded in the article.
Do you know what I love? It's like the one good thing about NFTs is how every single time someone tries to launch an NFT, within 48 hours, they have to take it back because everyone just rips the flip out of them.
Um,
Why does every company think it'll be different this time?
I saw a tweet yesterday
different this
where
time.
someone had tweeted yesterday, like, somewhere right now in the world there is a game dev or a game publisher like board going, when we do it, people are going to go wild.
They'll get it.
So here's the statement. Whoopsie! Exclamation mark. We're always trying to give you new experiences and interesting facts on our local channels, including a look into Killjoy and her hometown of Berlin. Since Killjoy loves programming, we wanted to introduce you to computer-generated art from around the world. However, we were not aware that the selected work was an NFT. In no way did we intend to include NFTs as part of Killjoy's work and hobbies. I love that sentence so much. I'm honestly, that's the end of the thing. This is back to the article. I'm honestly not sure how you can't be aware that Horo's works are made specifically for NFT sales when the dude's website opens with his claims that his works are living on the Ethereum blockchain forever.
You can't just make words up.
And then quickly links directly to an OpenSea gallery. Luke seems to know what that is. I don't. But
It's a museum.
I'm
right?
guessing
a
it's
museum.
Just a
non-fungible.
It's basically just a real life NFT.
Yeah. But hey, I'm just a guy, not a social media employee for a video game studio. At least they deleted the tweet and learned a valuable lesson about their fans' views on NFTs.
There's some strange energy in the room
There
today.
is.
Just why? Why do they keep trying it?
I have no
I have
idea.
to assume it
Just-
comes from the top in a lot of instances. That seems to have been what
Yeah.
happened
Yeah.
with Team 17
There was
this past
one.
week.
There was one weird news that was submitted, but I couldn't bring myself to read about NFTs, but it happened anyway. About Ubisoft saying that gamers just don't
Just
understand
don't get it.
Yeah,
They just don't
why
get it.
NFTs are good,
Yeah.
but then
I nearly chose
not
that one
being
for weird
able to
news.
explain why NFTs are good. That
just
was
don't get it.
was cracking me
It
up.
makes us money. Why don't
You
you,
don't
why don't
get
you
it.
get it?
Yeah.
It puts money in my pocket. That's why it's good.
Okay, that was submitted via Facebook, but I'll just find the name of the person.
Okay.
But do go on, Ashton.
So my news comes from Johnny Mac13 on Twitter. It's from PC Gamer, written by Andy.
Oh, it's all auto playing.
That was
Some
me.
sort of
Hi,
bit of
Ashton.
Ashton there.
Hello,
Little
sorry.
tiny Ashton trapped in your phone.
Let me out. Sorry.
Let
sorry.
me out.
And it's written by Andy Chalk.
It's a good name.
It's a great name.
You okay?
Think
Yeah, I
you related to Charlie, the famous clown?
Yeah.
Ashton, you were of Charlie Chalk.
No,
And cheese.
I haven't.
No. And cheese.
What's going on?
You can do this, Ashton.
Bill
You've got
Hardy. Thank you, Bill, for my news. Ashton.
Andy Chalk says, Oscar-hating director of It Takes Two is helping make it into a movie. Joseph Fares had some choice words about the Oscars at the Game Awards a few years ago. Hazelight Studios founder Joseph Fares became a legend among gamers for his tirade at the 2017 Game Awards. Extolling the virtues of Jeff Keighley's annual extravaganza, he shouted into the camera, and I quote, I'm
Flip.
going to. Flip the Oscars. Flip the Oscars. Flip the Oscars. Flip you. His point that the video game industry does not need to content itself with playing second fiddle to Hollywood was reasonable, but largely lost beneath his suggestion that, and again I quote, the Oscars should flip themselves up.
Yeah. I mean,
Up.
that's fair too.
I bring up this glorious moment in gaming history so that we can all properly appreciate that Hazelight's hit co-op adventure It Takes Two, which won the Game of the Year crown at the 2021 Game Awards, is being adapted for movies and television, both. According to Variety, Hazelight is working on the adaptation in partnership with production company DJ2 Entertainment. Creating the world and story in It Takes Two was so much fun for me and the team, Fares said, since it has a strong narrative with many crazy characters and just as crazy co-op action moments. The potential is huge for great adaptation to film or television. DJ2 is honoured to partner with Joseph Oscar. Oh, there's a comma. DJ2 is honoured to partner with Joseph, Oscar, Hazelight Studio manager Oscar Wolontis, and the incredible team at Hazelight Studios on the linear media adaptation of It Takes
The
Two.
linear media adaptation. What a way to talk about
Linear media.
talk about a
Yeah.
film. That's great.
DJ2 CEO and founder Dimitri M. Johnson said, just like the rest of the gaming world, we fell head over heels in love with Cody, May, Rose, Dr. Hakim. You fell in love with Dr. Hakim, did you? Find that hard to believe.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Collaboration.
And
is
the
what I meant to
imaginative
say.
fantasy universe Hazelight have created and can't wait to bring these characters and this world to life on the big and small screen.
We get to see an elephant die
In
That's it.
live
3D,
action.
please.
in potential
3D.
live action.
It's amusing that a guy who expressed such profane, excited disdain for film awards ceremonies is now involved in making a movie. Although, in all fairness, I think it's worth noting, again, that Fares' issue was really that the video with the video game industry and not to the film industry. It Takes Two seems like a good pick for a linear narrative translation too. I could probably find 90 minutes of amusement in the antics of the book that screams and its hapless victims completely shorn of gameplay. Okay, that's it. Well, it's not it, but the last bit's just guff.
Okay. You just wait until that person's finished having a wee directly into the toilet water.
Where? I'm trying to echolocate that toilet. It doesn't sound right.
I think it actually might be just
This one.
It sounds like it's
I think
downstairs.
it's
It
this
sounds
one.
upstairs, but I think it's actually the one through the wall.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't know if that's coming
Wow,
through,
such
but
they are
probably
very
not.
that's
hydrated.
a live recording of someone from Cultaholic doing a wee.
They went from upstairs.
Could be someone from upstairs.
Could be Joseph Fares.
Let us know in the comments who you think did the wee.
Okay.
Who done the piss?
Who done the piss? Ben, do you have some weird
Yeah, I do
news?
have some weird news actually. This
good.
comes from Twitter and Lloyd Williams at LloydW90.
Lloyd.
Lloyd.
And this is a story from Kotaku, Zach Zweisen. Make shopping online better with the We Shop channel song. Yeah. It's a universally agreed upon truth that the We Shop channel music is a banger, no doubt about it. One of the best pieces of music humanity has ever created.
What is that, like a bossa nova beat?
And now, thanks to a nifty and clever little... Hang on. I know it's embedded here somewhere.
I think the Me channel music is better. Oh, it's the same music. Be careful, Nintendo will copyright strike our channel.
Super
That's very true.
Mario RPG. Harvest Moon. Link Puzzle Pokemon. Toe Jam and Earl in Panic. Oh no, you were there.
And now, thanks to a nifty and clever little browser add-on, you can have this wonderful song play wherever you go, provided it's on the internet. So, for example, if you're dropping cash on that thing you don't need on Amazon today, this song could be blasting in the background like God intended. Created by software developer and writer Corbin Davenport, the We Shop channel music extension is an add-on that is available for either Firefox or Google Chrome browsers. Why is it getting louder and quieter? I'm not pressing anything. Once installed, the add-on can detect when you visit a store page like Amazon or Woot. You heard of Woot?
No.
Never.
Okay. After opening a store page in your browser, the add-on starts playing the iconic We Shop channel music, aka that song you are already listening to right now. If you don't remember that great song, or you just want to hear it again, here it is.
You do know that Nintendo have like
Yeah,
done
a record number of...
1,400 copyright strikes on a single channel this.
It's so good.
1,401 now.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's available now. It's a very
Harvest
simple
Moon.
creation, but one that is ingenious and solves a major flaw that almost every other digital storefront and website suffers from, a lack of cool music. Seriously, why is it that only Nintendo seems to get that adding a sick jam to your store is a great way to keep people hanging out in it, probably leading to more purchases? This is such a no-brainer, and yet it's only Nintendo that has nailed this. Yet sadly, even Nintendo has dropped the ball in recent years. The Switch has no store theme, which is a terrible crime, and one which I'll never forget. It goes on.
Remember when we used to use that fake that knockoff version of the
Nintendo. What was
yeah.
it? What's it called? It was called something.
It's called like Nindento.
Nindento,
or
yeah.
Nindinton.
Before we
or
switched to
for person tat videos. Yeah.
One time in uni, when I was doing drama, my third year, we did a thing. We used the Wii music, that song, and we did the cinnamon challenge, ate hot chili, ate baby food, and then tipped a tin of mashed peas on our heads.
Ate baby food.
Yeah,
Is
we
that
basically
is
did.
it not nice?
It was a piece about the internet, so it was like we did all of
trends.
the internet challenges that had gone by in previous years.
£9,000 a year.
Yeah,
What was the second one? So you did the cinnamon challenge.
ate hot chili.
Oh, hot chili. Okay, yeah.
You not mash,
Baby
baby food.
Baby.
There was something else as well. and
Ice
then
bucket challenge.
Yeah. We weren't allowed to do the ice bucket challenge
Did you
because we
plank?
weren't allowed to water. No,
Did
we
you
didn't.
plank?
Did you Harlem Shake?
We didn't
Yeah.
plank.
Okay.
No.
Sad, isn't it? Anyway,
Yeah.
we've got other stuff to do before the end of this podcast. Question 3, I suppose.
This is from Fergus Jeffs. arguably 3 first names there because the second one is plural.
There's multiple Jeffs.
Hello, Pab. How important would you say a game's visual quality is when it comes to determining its overall standard of excellence compared to other elements like game mechanics, story, characters, difficulty, etc.? Could a current-gen console game that looks aesthetically beautiful but lacks in other departments be considered better than another game that has an excellent story, mechanics, and characters but looks visually, quote-unquote, ugly?
Absolutely not.
Let me know your thoughts. Congratulations on the 3rd anniversary of Triple Jump, Fergus Jeffs. And then in parentheses it says, Forgotten Media 141. We know that one. I've seen that person in chat.
Mr. Jeffs.
Thank you, Jeffs.
All of you.
Thank you to all the Jeffs.
every
Shout out
Jeffrey
to my
out there.
Jeffs out there.
I mean,
No.
well, no.
It's got to look pretty or it's crap.
But what if it looks pretty and is otherwise crap? Is the question? Is part of the question?
My thing, if
Well-
it looks pretty and it's crap, it is not better than a game that is
Then it's
good
Far
in
Cry
every other
6,
way,
isn't
but
it?
just looks a bit rubbish.
Yeah, no, I was being facetious.
Right.
I was totally taking the pissical.
The Michael.
The pissical.
I mean, first off, I think it's important to say that visual quality is not necessarily synonymous with when people say it's got good graphics. You know, if they mean it looks realistic, that's not always the same thing. There are some really nice indie games and like little tiny Steam games and stuff, and even bigger games than that in terms of scale, but that have interesting visual style. You look at something like Limbo that I talk about quite a lot because I really love Limbo. Actually, it's one of my favorite games of that generation. It doesn't have good graphics in the sense that, you know, what your average Call of Duty player is looking for when they buy the game.
You can't see every pore on their face.
No, you can't. You can barely see his face, just his eyes.
3 out of 10 then.
But
what are you even
Crap
doing
game.
A very atmospheric game through simple use of black, white, and grey. Really, silhouettes and stuff. So games can be beautiful without having quote unquote amazing graphics. As long as they've got a nice art style, you know. But even if you factor that in, and it's still part of the question, if it's got a good art style but it's otherwise rubbish, to compare it to a game, you know, good art style but rubbish everything else versus good everything else, rubbish art style, it again, I say this quite a lot for our answers, but it's case by case. It depends how good or bad those things are. I don't think there's like a hard and fast rule that says if a game looks good but plays badly, it's categorically going to be worse than a game that is the other way around. But I would lean towards a game that feels good to play, has an interesting story and good characters. And if it looks a bit naff, then if I had to take a punt on 2 games that I didn't know what they were, but they were just described like that to me, one or the other, I'd probably go with the one that looks bad and plays well versus the one that looks good and plays badly, because you're just going to get irritated after a while. And once you've been in any given game for a number of hours, yeah, it can look really good, but like you don't become numb to that, but it's not blowing you away every moment. Whereas if you're playing something and it just feels good constantly, I think you get more feedback from that than you do a game just looking good.
Yeah.
Ashton?
I think as long as visually ugly isn't like, it makes it difficult to play because it looks bad. Like if it's like, oh, it's all brown and grey and there's not much depth to it, but you can still play it fine.
It's really fun, yeah.
And it's a great game. I'm like, brilliant. It's a great game. It just doesn't necessarily look amazing. But I think if a perfect game obviously has all 4, but if there's one thing that you could kind of drop for like to actually play the game, the visuals will probably be the thing that you could slack on a little bit, as long as the rest of them are excellent, like you say. If you've got a great story, it works really well and it's really fun to play, but it looks a bit naff, then it's still like a good game and people will enjoy it regardless. But if it's like you say, if it's looks really visually beautiful but plays like crap, then no one's going to want to play it, and therefore it doesn't matter how pretty it looks because your game sucks.
I wrote some examples actually of games that don't really look very good but play well.
Well, I suppose you could kind of say Cyberpunk 2077 when it came out was visually very pretty when it worked. When it textures loaded in, but the mechanics and some of the gameplay was just completely broken. And then, you know, even when they fixed it. It's kind of it still looks really pretty, and you can kind of, I guess, appreciate the rest of it. But when it first came out, you couldn't really play the game.
On the
but
flip side, something like RuneScape, which looks like crap and always has.
How
looked like
dare
crap.
you.
Yeah. I remember kids at school telling me about, have you played this RuneScape thing? And they described it to me, and they were like, no, it's like a 3D. It's like not just a side scroller. It's really cool.
You should see the dance animation.
You go down, go around a world. There's all sorts to
look
do.
At those moves.
You know, items, talk to everyone.
Oh my God, he's a dancer.
And I booted it up, and I was like, what? What is this? At first, I was like, what is this? And then, you spend more than like an hour with it, and you're like, this is great. There's so much to this.
The best thing ever.
You can do loads of things. You can hang out with your friends. It's got a good soundtrack.
You can do so many things. Hang out with your friends.
Yeah, you can kill cows.
Kill cows.
You can dance for money in the street.
Yeah, kill chickens.
Do quests.
Do quests.
Hang out with your friends.
Do loads and loads of campfires outside the bank.
Yeah, just in a long row.
I think obviously, like, the visual style of a game will sell it. You can see how a game looks before you can play it nowadays. So if a game looks like crap, it probably would struggle more than a game looks visually beautiful. But as soon as the reviews start coming out and they say, this game, looks really good, but you can't play it, people will go, okay, well, I'm not going to
like, what was that Nintendo game that came out recently that was quite whimsical looking? I can't begin to remember the name of it.
Every Nintendo game.
But I think it might have been like one of the worst Switch games last year, one of the worst mainstream Switch games. I'll look it up while Ben's giving his answer.
You're not talking about Balan Wonderworld, are you?
Yeah.
Wonderland. It's not a Nintendo game, but
isn't it? I thought it was. I thought it was on Switch.
It probably was on Switch,
Yeah.
but it's on.
Yeah, so I don't mean it was published by Nintendo. I just mean
Right.
a Switch. I should have said Switch game rather than Nintendo game.
It's on
but,
PS4 and other stuff as well.
Oh, is it? I thought it was
but
exclusive.
equally rubbish on all of them. I think.
But yeah, that at first glance, a lot of people said, "Oh, this looks interesting." You know, it's quite a wacky, whimsical world. And then as soon as they started playing it, all the reviewers were like,
So rubbish.
"It's rubbish."
It's absolutely.
Did you play it?
No.
Oh.
But I'm looking forward to playing it on an episode of Worst Games Ever at some point because it's.
Ben,
It
your
is.
turn is long overdue. Would you like to answer that?
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say was it depends on how you define visual quality, as you guys have already spoken about. Because different styles are ultimately going to attract different people to it. So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. AAA games are always going to have a bigger budget and they're always going to shoot for the photorealism, the really, really shiny, fancy graphics. Not all of them do, but the vast majority do go for that. And that, as we have learned over and over and over again, does not always equate to a good game.
No.
Just because it looks amazing. I think DICE are pretty guilty of that in recent times.
Frostbite engine is still, I think,
Beautiful.
absolutely stunning. I love that engine, but yeah.
Ubisoft make a lot of pretty games. Not always full of, well, sometimes they have too much stuff in them, but it's not always good. So yeah, it comes down to personal preference, really. But perhaps the saddest truth of all in all of this, regardless of which games you think are the prettiest or are most attracted to playing, and more often than not, as you said, indie games with a unique art style are often phenomenal, like Disco Elysium. Gorgeous game, not photorealistic though, just looks like a watercolor painting. It's amazing. But yeah, the saddest truth in all of it is that the games that do shoot for the photorealism are usually AAA, which means they have the biggest budget, which means they have the biggest marketing budget. And so for a lot of casual players, they associate that with quality.
Yeah.
That a game that looks like that can't be bad. A game that has that much marketing presence when they're watching sports, for example, or the television. That's got to be good, right? Because I saw an advert for it in the cinema. And so, I mean, it's part of a larger conversation about how a lot of mainstream players of video games just never venture anywhere near indie games or anything less than the games that they've had shoved down their throat by the games or the developers with the biggest, the publishers with the biggest budgets.
Well, I think that's why those publishers do that because, you know, as you say, typically AAA games lean towards photorealism. They don't have to. They wouldn't have to do that. But I think they know that if they chose to do something a bit out there visually, that it just wouldn't have as wide an appeal, you know, to those more casual gamers. I think they know that, like, that's just what that sort of audience wants.
They're conditioned.
Again, but then I suppose you've got games like, I mean, it's one game. You've got like the Borderlands art style isn't necessarily, the same thing that everyone thinks. But again, because they've got the marketing, it's like, wow, what an interesting visual style. But they're allowed to get away with it because they have lots of money.
It's whoever has the most money.
Yeah.
It's whoever's got the most money and has the biggest marketing budget can get it into the most homes and in front of the most eyeballs, and people will en masse naturally associate that with good. That is good because I saw it and then I bought it, and it can't be bad because it was one of only 2 games I bought last year, and I have no experience with anything else that looks any different. But yeah, ultimately, it's nonsense, isn't it? Like there's no correlation between visuals and quality at all. But I do understand the appeal of playing a very shiny, fancy game, especially if you've got a big, fancy television, a nice, shiny console, or a lovely monitor and a very powerful PC. You are going to want to push that thing, and it is nice to play those, but there's not a direct, equal correlation between the two at all.
Yeah. It's time for something enormous.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's time for the big discussion. It's time for the big discussion. We're here again.
Look how ripped she is.
Did she just flex? Did I miss it?
Stretching.
Whoa! Man, those are some vascular arms.
You're going to have to buy some bigger half shirts soon.
That's just a regular shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah.
The big discussion this week comes courtesy of Ernie Arrowsmith, who says, the news that Sony are acquiring Bungie is a bit lackluster compared to the earth-shaking Microsoft Activision. Oh, why did I weird that so strangely?
Activision.
Help me. Let's try this again. The news that Sony are acquiring Bungie is a bit lackluster compared to the earth-shaking Microsoft Activision announcement, but it's still a big deal. However, Sony is saying that they aren't planning for Bungie to make PlayStation exclusives, and instead they will continue to drive one unified Bungie community. So, what's all this about? Do Sony want a piece of the live service pie? Do they want to make a DECU, Destiny Cinematic Universe? You could have just said DCU.
Yeah.
PC Gamer has an interesting write-up theorizing about the Sony's intentions, but it'd be great to get your thoughts. Keep up the great work, Ernie. Yeah, so there was another massive purchase this past week. Sony have welcomed Bungie to the PlayStation family for $3.6 billion. Now, I have a few quotes here and clarifications.
Oh my gosh, full print out.
That I am going to quickly run through just before we talk about how we feel, just so we don't retread some similar ground. A lot of this was taken from Push Square. We'll put some links in the description. Regarding Bungie-developed exclusives, an official statement from Bungie reads, we will continue to independently publish and creatively develop our games. We will continue to drive one unified Bungie community. Our games will continue to be where our community is, wherever they choose to play. It's been confirmed that Bungie's games will remain multi-platform, but obviously that could all change in the future with new projects. In Sony Interactive Entertainment, we have found a partner who unconditionally supports us in all we are and who wants to accelerate our vision to create generation-spanning entertainment, all while preserving the creative independence that beats in Bungie's heart. Like us, SIE believes that game worlds are only the beginning of what our IPs can become. Together, we share a dream of creating and fostering iconic franchises that unite friends around the world, families across generations, and it just continues like that, basically. As for whether or not the acquisitions will ever end, and there's more to come.
Yes.
According to PlayStation and Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan. Ryan tells games industry that we should absolutely expect more PlayStation acquisitions. He continues, we are by no means done. With PlayStation, we have a long way to go. Elsewhere, I'm having a really hard time reading. I'm very sorry.
You're doing a great
Elsewhere,
job.
Thank you. In the organization, we have many more moves to make. As for Sony and live service, as touched upon in Ernie's question, Sony appears to be all in on plans to expand its portfolio beyond big-budget single-player experiences at the Japanese company. As the Japanese company confirms it has 10 live service games in the works. They are all planned to release by March 2026. The news comes from the firm's latest earnings call, where it also touched on the recent Bungie acquisition. So there we are. There's some notes. Peter, what did you think when you saw the news?
I don't like this. I was live on Twitch when this news came through, and someone posted in the chat, So Sony have bought Bungie, and I was like,
Yeah, all right.
yeah, very
All the
good.
other
And then one
Nice
other person
joke.
said, "Did you hear about the Sony buying Bungie?" I was like, "All right, guys, you don't need
Come
to
on.
gang up on me." And I was like, and immediately before I even finished the sentence, I was like, "There's no way that would happen. Has that happened? Can someone confirm?" And people were like, "Yes, no, this has just happened. It's just been announced."
Yeah.
So it's madness. Something that I wondered whether would come up in your quotes there is also that allegedly this is not in retaliation to the Activision.
There was a bit I missed off.
Right.
I was just about to read it. The purchase is not a reaction to Microsoft's aforementioned Megaton, according to Games Industry's Christopher Dring. Dring says that Sony's deal with Bungie has been in the works for the past 5 to 6 months.
I mean,
Yeah,
it would
they
have to be like it wouldn't be just.
This doesn't happen.
Weekly.
No.
thing. Yeah.
So before as I say, I was live and I was reacting to it. And in the moment I was saying, what? So have they just done that because Microsoft bought
up
Activision?
yours, Microsoft.
Like, that's like a bit petty, but these deals don't happen overnight. And so as far as that argument is concerned, that's kind of put to bed. But the fact is, Sony have made an acquisition. Microsoft have recently made a very big acquisition.
And there's more to come.
Jim Ryan says there's more to come. And that is not a good thing for anyone, for any consumer anyway. I also, talking about this specific example, I don't really like live service games personally.
Yeah, it puts the willies up me.
I've
that
never
10
played
10
one.
live
When I-
service
10 live
games.
service games.
I almost retweeted being like, they don't have to.
Yeah.
They can just keep them.
Yeah,
if
how
they
about we
want.
don't? But they
Yeah.
make all the money.
They do.
They do. I say I've never played one. I've played them before. I've never stuck with one. I've never enjoyed a live service game, really. And also, I don't even play that much multiplayer, full stop. So even if they just sort of broaden it and say, oh, well, yeah, it's partly, they'll help us with live service, but also just they'll help us make great multiplayer experiences. I'm not even like that into multiplayer, really. I don't have the time to play that alongside all my single player stuff. So even in terms of this specific acquisition, as a PS5 owner, or indeed, they're saying multi-platform, so that's fine. But as a gamer, I am not looking forward to Sony bringing out a whole bunch of live service games and perhaps, redirecting some of their resources away from the kind of games that I enjoy. So I don't think I really like the sound of any of this, other than there's some talk of like, they said beyond game worlds or something in that quote.
Something like
Take
that.
our IP
Together,
beyond game worlds.
Yeah, we share a dream of creating and fostering iconic franchises that unite. No, that's not it. It's creating this. SIE believes that game worlds are only the beginning of what our IPs can become.
So I don't know if there's been official word on this or if it's more rumor. I've just seen it floating around on social
I don't know
media.
if you read the PC Gamer article that Annie mentions, but in the article, Bungie had hired a couple months ago an executive who was meant to be in charge of TV, movies, and entertainment
So that's what I was
as
going
well.
to say, yeah.
So I know that they were definitely looking at it, and it's Sony Entertainment, isn't it? So it's not necessarily PlayStation; it's Sony. So
I can't think of a more boring film to watch.
I mean,
Destiny
I'm
film.
not interested in a Destiny film.
I mean, the story isn't bad of Destiny, like how it all kind of comes to be.
They
And,
don't do a great job in the game.
well, there's too much going on in the game, but if you just played like the story mission to story mission, it's not the worst story. Like, it is kind of interesting. And if they actually just, put a bit of thought into it, you might be right.
Yeah, maybe.
I love all right films.
But so yeah, I'm not interested in a Destiny film. But if they brought this team on and they're saying, oh, we can have you guys look at our other IPs, then maybe there's something there. But like that's me looking for some kind
It
of
could
plus
be
from
mutually
this.
beneficial.
It could be.
There's Sony Pictures that will obviously they'll be able to help Destiny out, and Bungie even, and they've got a huge financial stake in it succeeding. Now.
Yeah.
And they're also doing a load of live service games.
And also to go back to Halo, which we talked about earlier, and how I'm a huge fan of the original trilogy. That was, of course, developed by Bungie. No longer. But so I like some of the stuff that Bungie have done in the past. I'm not interested in Destiny, but if they start thinking about new IP at some point from Bungie, I have faith that those guys know what they're doing when it comes to coming up with interesting worlds and stuff. So that's like a couple of plus points that I'm desperately trying to find from
Yeah.
this. But yeah, it's not good news for anyone, really, I don't think.
It's an exciting time to be a gamer.
Yeah, unless you're a huge Destiny fan. But even then,
Still gotta be
Destiny
on
would have just
Stadia,
carried on
though.
existing with or without this purchase, I would have thought. So don't think it even necessarily helps you as a Destiny fan.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said, but to go off on a bit of a tangent about the non-exclusivity of it all, I think making a game not exclusive is beneficial to everyone. I think it's good for Sony, it's good for Bungie, and I think it's good for the gamer. To kind of give an example of how I think it would, like, if Sony continue on this path, how it would benefit them to both, well, not just Sony, but a lot of companies to go non-exclusive and kind of work together, is with PSVR. I think if Sony and Valve, who obviously Steam, work together, they could do some pretty cool things with PlayStation VR. And I think if PlayStation allow their games to go onto Valve VR and maybe Oculus/Meta, it's beneficial to everyone, because I think if something like Half-Life Alyx goes onto PlayStation and PlayStation kind of mutually give it back for whatever they make, it's good for the VR gamer, because people who are not necessarily going to get a VR headset but get a PlayStation VR because they've already got a PlayStation, they benefit from getting a great game. Valve get to sell their games, and people just in general do better. So I think that non-exclusivity is a good thing, and I'm glad that they've kind of put that in. But again, how long that will last, we don't know. But I think if they continue on the path of buying, I mean, I don't want them to, but when they do, if they buy studios the size of Bungie and say, it's okay, the games will still be on all platforms, we're just going to produce them and, you know, make most of the money back from it. Because even if your game sells on Xbox, you still make the money from it, because it's your money, it's going back into your pocket. So it's not a bad thing for PlayStation to go non-exclusive. And I think it's beneficial to gamers for them to not go non-exclusive. And maybe if Sony keep doing it and saying, look, it's all right, Xbox gamers, you can still have our games. Look, aren't they so nice over here? But mean Microsoft won't give us their games. Aren't they so mean? People might go, Microsoft should, you know, if they've got Activision, make it everything non-exclusive. But yeah, put it all into a big pot and everyone just picks what they want. I think that should be the plan. But I think non-exclusivity is a good thing, and I'm glad to hear that. But I don't think it's a good thing. I don't like the arms race that we're currently in of who can buy the most studios. And again, it's not a retaliation thing. So it's not have just been drawn up like this week. The same with whatever more to come means. They're not going to have been drawn up like in the space of 2 weeks. So I don't think it's a retaliation thing, but I do think it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, everything just being bought up by everybody else is rubbish. We keep moving closer and closer to the Parks and Rec meme with proud to be one of America's 8 companies, where everything's just merged and it's just super corporations everywhere. I don't like it. It's not good for players. In this specific instance, you're right, Ashton, there is absolutely no ambiguity about whether or not Bungie's future games will be available elsewhere. Certainly Destiny, they can't go back on the very, very clear statements they put out, like, we are independent, all our games will be available to all our communities wherever you play. That is one thing, again, it's a silver lining and a small one. It's one thing that I'm saying, I would say that I prefer over the way that Microsoft has done business so far, where it has been very wishy-washy and we haven't really been sure. Just tell us. Please make it clear.
Because even if it's bad news, I'd rather just know.
Yeah, exactly. I would rather know as well. And I know there's certain issues with the Activision deal anyway, in that they have to. We got to wait until they actually properly purchase them. They've just sort of, that's their intention to buy is public knowledge, but the purchase hasn't gone through and won't until I think next year. So it's going to be a while before we even get there. I don't like it. I think it's a silly move in terms of just why do companies why
Indeed.
It's not good for us because it ultimately ends up again with this sort of stupid arms race where everybody's trying to purchase things and getting all the toys for themselves. Again, these games will be available on multiple platforms, which is nice to know. And Bungie's not coming in as a first-party developer. So you're not going to see them making a Killzone game. You're not going to see them making a Resistance game or anything like that. However, in what could be considered quite a shrewd move by Sony, who are looking to make 10 live service games in the next few years, rather than have to go through the trial and error of working out how to make a live service game, as with Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics and Avengers, they've just bought a company that knows how to do it.
They've got the expertise.
So while Bungie won't be developing these games, almost certainly, they will be able to offer invaluable guidance at every step and every stage, and also teach them how to make nice menus, which would be pretty good, I suppose.
Would be good.
But I don't know how to feel anymore, because it's not going to stop.
Who do you think they're going to buy next?
Konami.
Capcom.
Yeah, Konami, Capcom.
I think Konami's
I
next
think
on
it's
the
all
chopping
Jeff
block.
Keighley's fault, you know?
Do you?
Because as soon as they tweeted about Activision Blizzard, what was Jeff Keighley doing? Writing out how much everyone's worth on Twitter. Look what you've done, Jeff.
You've given them a shopping list.
You've given them a shopping list.
Another thing about this is that Sony, PlayStation in particular, they're not the same PlayStation they were a few years ago.
My God.
Under, trying to remember his name, pre-Jim Ryan, they were a different company. Now, and this was in the works before Jim Ryan was in charge, they are a multi-platform entity. They release games on PC, and that could extend to VR games, you're right, at some point. But they do release games on multiple platforms now, and they develop the flipping baseball game as well, which is on Switch and Xbox too, after that licensing agreement thing with MLB. So one of my biggest, not necessarily issues, but something that I always thought was a pretty reasonable defense for Sony buying up studios as opposed to Microsoft, was that Microsoft tended to just kind of snaffle up. Well, they've just purchased publishers and everything under them, right? Whereas Sony tended to buy things that they had a history with, like developers that they worked closely with, who worked on series that were exclusive to PlayStation, etc., like your Insomniacs and your Guerrillas and your Housemarques and so on. Whereas there's no history here at all. That defense is completely invalid.
But it's that whole thing. We are now living in a day where
We live in a society
where, all right, Bungie no longer are the Halo developers, but you've got the Halo studio is now owned by Sony, and Crash Bandicoot is now owned by Xbox, as is Banjo and Conker. Like what?
Spyro.
Where are and Spyro? You know, if you told anyone that 5-10 years ago, it'd be baffling.
The game war has changed,
and
it's a very stupid war, and it's just going to continue. Clearly, I genuinely do think Konami is going to be purchased by someone, because there's so much IP and it's just not being used.
Yeah, they're not
at all.
Just treading water.
They're just making bad free-to-play football games and pachinko machines or whatever it is that they're doing over there. I don't know when this stops, but while Bungie, again, slight silver lining, is definitely going to remain independent and multi-platform, the next one isn't, almost certainly. When Sony invariably buys a smaller publisher, those games aren't going to be multi-platform. They might come to PC eventually, but they're not going to be on Xbox. I can't believe that for a second. It just sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's just rubbish. Like you don't want to read that. This isn't a victory for anyone but Sony. And the spin that they're trying to put on it that's the hardest pill to swallow. They've published so many interviews with Herman Hulst, talking at head of first party studios, talking about what a great deal this is and how excited they are to work with Bungie. And then you've got Mr. Xbox there sliding into the reply saying, wow, what such an exciting time to be.
Congratulations, PlayStation.
Such a great time to be a gamer. It's like, is it? Is it though? Because one of you just bought Activision Blizzard and one of you just bought Bungie. I don't know who benefits from that really, apart from you.
The Twitter conversation where it was like, at Jim Ryan, hey, congratulations on your new deal. And then he replies and he's like, thanks, can't wait to
Can't wait to share the products
level up
that
the
we
future
make.
of gaming.
It's an exciting time to be a gamer. It's
Also,
awful. It's
companies should just stop using the phrase level up, because we here in England hear that enough from Boris Johnson's
Yeah,
mouth,
that's
and we
true.
can't handle it anymore. So if you could just think of a new word to use, that'd be grand.
yeah.
Yeah, without rehashing
rubbish.
everything we said with the Xbox Activision thing, it's not a good thing. It may seem like a good thing right now for a lot of people, but the more it happens, I think the more it becomes worrisome of what it's going to turn into. So,
As before, we will just have to wait and see what happens next and when. This is crap, really. It's crap, and it's not even exciting. Like we're not going to see any, like, PlayStation players aren't going to get any benefit at all, apart from maybe the live service games are more addictive. And that sounds even worse. Don't make I hate live service games. I don't want those on PlayStation. I don't want 10 of them.
Bungie are making another game that isn't Destiny, but whether that'll be live service or not, I'm not sure. But
Probably.
Who knows?
Probably.
We literally are
Stick to
just
what you
going to
know.
have to wait and see what happens. But do either of you have any closing statements?
I want Sony to buy Square Enix and make Unholy War 2.
Oh my god. Yeah. Ashton.
I think Nintendo should buy Capcom just for the gigs.
Just to get involved.
Nintendo's just, hey.
Just for the flips and gigs.
Lol, we've bought Amazon. Your move,
Yeah.
everyone.
I want Amazon to buy PlayStation.
Honestly, it could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't
Either
surprise
Apple or Amazon or Meta /Facebook
If
could
they-
come
if
in
they
and
buy
could just
PlayStation,
buy
that would be-
Sony outright. Could
Yeah.
do. I mean, they shouldn't. It shouldn't be allowed, but they could. It's
You know, the Oculus VR is now called Meta. So it's not Oculus Rift, it's a Meta Rift and a Meta Quest.
I hate it.
Gross.
I hate it. It's
Why
terrible.
not just keep the familiar brand?
Don't know.
If you want to find us online and talk to us and be our friends and see our content, you can go to youtube.com and twitch.tv/Team TripleJump. It's where we do all of our videos and live streams. When we're streaming on both of those channels, we're modded by Lobrotovich, Trailing Badger, and Mr. Black. If you've got Amazon Prime, if you've got Sony Prime, you get a Twitch sub with that bundle of things on your Amazon Prime, so you can spend that on us at no extra cost to yourself. Twitter.com and Facebook.com /Team TripleJump for our social media presence, video and live stream announcements, and legacy video content. Occasional Facebook Lives. Thank you, Fraser, for looking after our social media. And patreon.com /Team TripleJump for all of our Patreon rewards, including asking questions on this podcast and maybe being a podcast producer and having your name read out if you want to do that.
We have a website. It's triplej.map. That's triplejU.mp, spells jump. If you want to listen, if you want to join our Discord and hang out with all of our lovely community, you can go to triplej.map /Discord. On Discord, we're modded by Jack, Joe, Tori, and Hollow Eyes. And if they tell you to do something, you bloody well do it. If you want to listen to our podcast in its audio forms, maybe you're going to the gym and you want to listen to this podcast in its audio form.
The James.
You can go to triplej.map /podcasts. Our podcast singular. If you want to watch our live stream VODs, if you've missed one of the many live streams we do a week, you can go to triplej.map /VODs, plural, and check out the VODs. If you want to buy some sick and cool merch, this is the new.
Look at that.
It's cool.
It's cool. It's
cool.
so cool.
So
This
she's
is
so
little-
cool.
I'm not
wow.
wearing much. Oh, actually, yes, I am.
There
That
we
one.
are. Look at us repping the merch. You can go to triplejumpshop.com and follow Triple Jump Shop on Twitter. It's at Triple Jump Shop to see about new merch reveals. And we like it when you tag us in the merch stuff. We always give it a cheeky like. So
People's Christmas
thanks.
albums are rolling in now in
Yeah.
February.
Yeah.
Good
That's
for
the
next
stuff.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
Singles, I should say, not albums.
Singles, yeah.
It's misrepresentation there.
Hey, why not follow Peter and Ashton on Instagram and Twitter at that Peter Austin and at Scrambled Ashton. And myself just on Twitter at confused_dude. We do lists every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Streams every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thursday being the joint stream.
Blaze it.
On YouTube. Monday with the other days just on Twitch, basically. Sunday streams. Worst Games Ever is fortnightly. Friday for patrons of a certain tier. Sunday for everyone else. We do the podcast every Saturday. And there are shows all the time. You come check them out. Come check them out. Why not leave a 5-star review on your platform of choice? it helps something to do with Al Gore's rhythms. Would really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Facebook.com/Team Triple Jump. We're not going to stop asking. We're getting there, but we're not going to stop asking. So please go and give us a follow there for free. We have a new channel trailer featuring this one.
Me.
For the longest time, if you came across our channel for the first time, you'd be like, well,
Hello, I'm Ben and I'm Peter.
It's about two boys.
Yeah.
It's two boys.
But it ain't now.
No.
It's done by James Jenkins. It was very good. It is very good.
Someone was a bit sad there wasn't any James Jenkins in it, and James was like, yeah, I edited it, and I didn't put any of
I
myself
did say
in
include
it.
a little bit of James in there, but he didn't. He's a very humble man.
He is.
Extremely humble because
James
he
Humbleman.
has no belongings because he doesn't get paid. So go follow our Facebook page. It is the 3rd anniversary of the channel this week. Oh. Thank you so much for all your support over the past 3 years. Can you believe it,
3
Peter?
years.
I can't believe it, actually. No.
It's almost as long as the pandemic was.
Yeah.
We were only around for a year and a bit before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Well,
Which
there we
is
are.
strange to think. But hey, we're still doing those ranked lists, doing more and more of them as time goes on across the 3 years we've been going. We have got a ranked list coming out this weekend. Should I say what it is? I think I'll say what it is.
Yeah, go on.
Every Zelda video game ranked from worst to best.
Wow, that actually came out yesterday, I think. At the
Yeah,
time.
it's
Oh, because
already
this
out.
is Saturday, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, you're right. It came out on Friday.
Ooh, someone's going to get very cross about where their Zelda game got ranked.
Oh,
their
definitely.
favorite Zelda
The
game.
ranked
especially-
lists always get such angry comments.
Oh,
It
yeah.
always makes me laugh.
I think the top 3 in particular of that list will be,
Number 1's the CDI one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2 is the other CDI one.
Just wait until you hear about the Tingle Pack. I'm so excited
Yeah.
for you to learn
There's
about the Tingle Pack.
A lot of Tingle stuff happening in that
Yeah.
in that list. It's
Little
great.
Tingle.
Go check it out. And we've got something else coming out tomorrow for some people, and yesterday.
Well, yesterday it came
For
out
other
for some
people.
people, and tomorrow for everyone else. It's worst games ever week.
Yeah,
It's
both
the worst games ever
both
week.
groups of some people.
Yeah.
It was also a weirdest games ever week if you support us on
Patreon.
Patreon at the correct tier. You would have got a worst games ever early and a weirdest. Let me just and a weirdest games ever an entire week early. So go check out our Patreon again if you want to see that. But worst games ever for everybody tomorrow at the time of release. Right, it's just enough time to talk about the sponsor once again this week.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, do let us know what you think of the acquisition. Good, bad.
Yeah, I jumped in before you
What are they going
said. Let us know. what you
No,
think.
it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'll just have
fine.
a little cry at home. So
Right.
it's okay.
Oh, that's okay.
No, it's not. Jim Ryan's new book has come out.
It's good to show your emotions.
No, it's not.
It is.
I'm going to
Stop
have
her.
a cry at Paul's, not at home.
Jim Ryan's new book. There's no destiny to worry, spending a ton G without losing your halo. Coming soon to Weatherspoons. I'm going to bed.
What?
I'm going to bed. I just can't do it.
Waterstones.
I just can't do it anymore. I'm so tired and I'm so hungry.
It's so
I've got
good.
no blood sugar, but we're going to go.
We've got to shoot a thingy now
Yeah.
After dark.
after dark.
Another podcast. So thank you. Go check that out. It will be unhinged. We appreciate you very much. Thanks for coming by and enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.